Hello. Welcome everyone to the third lecture of this series. We are covering the basic lectures on data analytics with Excel. I am always excited about the lectures. Then before we dive in, we have already shared what all we are going to teach in all our videos after this. And you can go to our YouTube channel. You can see the playlist we have attached. You can also see the topics that we will be covering in this exact lecture. Just remember that this lecture is important to know but not practice. What do I mean by that? So whenever you are actually working in industry, or whenever you're working with a particular client and you're using data analytics, or you're using Excel for data analytics to be precise, you need to know that you can do this as well to save up your time, right? Now the techniques that we'll be discussing in this lecture are something which are not used a lot in the industry, but it whenever we have the requirement, this is a lifesaver. So it is important, but not in terms of the practice, but so that you know what is to be done when, right? So we'll understand with what data entry is. There are a lot of jobs in open market when we go for basic data entry and formulas, and just creating the Excel file and creating the data and then submitting. And then we'll also understand what automated data entry is and how we can actually do some quick analysis of the data that we already have in front of us, so that we can get the gist of what is exactly happening with us. So the link to this Excel file will be in the description. You can always open it. And before we actually start learning, I will like to reiterate on the motto of this channel, the vision of this channel. On every 100 subscribers, we are going to give one kid who is in need free education specifically with our courses, right? So I hope you like our lectures. I hope you share it with all of your friends, and I hope you subscribe to our channel as well. So moving forward, let's go ahead and start learning now. For basic data entry, okay. Today the environment is revolving around information, IT, and whoever is actually having a lot of data in front of them to create the decisions, that person is considered to be really good. So just to tell you the importance of basic data entry or data in today's business environment, there was this one case study which is taught in many of the B schools, as is also given as examples in many of the events. There was this one lady who came up to Shark Tank USA, and this lady had an idea where they can actually give a particular syringe to the cats, or maybe not syringe but some similar product to the cat, and your cat will actually live a little longer. Now the syringe or the equipment would have cost around $28 at that point, but if you see the cost of acquiring a cat, it was only around $8, right? So the argument which was being given by the judges at who were sitting at Shark Tank as a host for every person who wants funding, was you can always go ahead and buy 3 cats in the same amount. Why will anyone use this? But the thing is, the lady sold her company with 35x valuation, just because using this kit she got the data of 350 I think 350 million, or a lot of cats all around USA. And the company was acquired by some pharmaceutical company who was developing a drug related to animals, so that they can increase the lifespan of the animals, and they can potentially use this data. So the company's valuation became 35x just because of the data only they had in the entire world. Now that's why data is so important, and that's why so many jobs are there in today's open market who will pay you just to create this data set for the company, so that they can become bigger and bigger as time passes by, right? So enough reiterating of what is the importance of data. Let's just directly go and understand what basic data entry is. So again, I will be using my keyboard. I am just using my key, right and left arrow keys, up and down arrow keys to navigate between all these cells in my Excel file. Let's say you want to write your name in any cell, right? Let's say I have to write then Das, and then I have to write Puri. That's my full name, right? So once I'm doing, once I'm writing all of this, you can always understand that Uh, this is known as basic data entry, where you are actually typing something by yourself and you're creating, and you're making information in your Excel file. So yeah, sometimes basic data entry, is the first building block for creating data, but most of the advanced tools revolve around web scraping. There's nothing much that I have to teach in basic data entry. This is one of the first step anyone would take, but formula is something which I need to emphasize on. So formulas are going to start from equal to sign every single time, right? So if you actually have to create a certain formula, let's say I want to do 4 plus 5, that's going to be 9, but it won't be read by Excel. And if we want the answer 9, we always have to use an equal to sign before this and then enter, and then only we are actually going to get an answer 9. Now notice one thing, this 9 is actually aligned towards the right side, but if I'm actually removing this equal to sign, you can see this aligns to the left side. Now if you will go to home, and you will see, if I am aligning this as, let's say, general, right, it will be on the left side. But let's say if I'm aligning it on the right, or as a number, there's nothing going to be changed. So what I want to emphasize here is, even when we have written numbers and a mathematical operation in between, Excel is not able to identify if whether or not this is a number, a numeric value, right? So whenever we have numbers, you can see they will be aligned towards the left, and whenever we have textual values, they will be aligned towards the right. All right, that being said, I think this would be enough for me to tell you what exactly formulas are and how we actually start with the formulas. Although there's one thing which I would like you to notice. So let's say if I'm writing 4 plus 5, I'm getting the output 9, correct? But sometimes this might happen with you that while you are working with your Excel file, you're not able to see this formula bar, or let's say the formula that you have written inside is actually very, very complex, and you want to see what formula is actually inside. So you actually use apostrophe s, and then you actually write equal to, and then you write 4 plus 5. So when you do this, apostrophe will actually stop Excel to identify this equal to sign beforehand, and apostrophe won't come at all, and you will be able to see what exact formula is being used. Although there are some other methods to see what formula is being used in some particular cell, but just because you're working with formulas, why not learn it? So we'll go with data analytics, data entry and automation now. Now here's the thing, before this whatever we were doing was like really, really boring, but now comes the interesting part. So the first thing that I will emphasize everyone to do is Alt WFF here, because we want the header to be constant, just how we discussed in our first 2 lectures, and then bold it so that our data set is pretty clean. Second thing, automated data entry. Now imagine okay, right now we don't have, let's say, 2 names, let's say first name and the last name. Imagine, okay, I'll create something like Dropri, and let's say I'm creating Ronak Shah, let's say I'm creating Deependra Goyal. I wrote some names here, right? So let's say I'm writing Dhruv here, and then I wrote Ronak here, and then I do Control E. You can see the minute I clicked on Control plus E, I did not have to write the entire Dipendra by myself. The first name was entered automatically without my intervention. Right now, that's the cool part. That's how we actually automate a process or data entry. You can understand it again. I will just delete this, and I'll do Control E. Sorry, I'll go to the active cell, and then I'll do Control E, and Dipendra will actually come here. Now, why I had to write the first 2 arguments? This will help Excel to understand the pattern that we are following, right? If Excel is not able to understand the pattern that we are following, then there will be an issue. Sometimes it might happen that writing the first name itself will actually help. It might help in this case, right? But most of the time we actually have to write at least two or three, right? Then and then only we'll be able to understand what exactly is happening. So that being said, this is one example, but here's what. Let's say you were asked to get the first initial of the first name. So all of these are like the first names. So this entire data set, these are the Indian names, like the Indian household names, and they are like 1300 names, and 1 stands for name used for male, 0 stands for name used for a female. So Darshana, Janvi or Khyati, Sikha, Minal, these names are actually used for females. Yash, Prit, Meet, these are known for males. So if I want Y, P, M, D, S, H, J, D, the probability that most of the people who don't know about this will write by themselves is like a lot. And the probability that if you're writing everything by yourself, and the chance of getting error is really high, right? If you're writing everything by yourself. So we'll automate the process the way we actually learned using Control E, as we discussed here. So I'll write P here and I'll write M here. So I'll write this couple of arguments for you to understand, and then I'm going to write Control E. The minute I click on Control E, you can see all of these got filled automatically, right? Now this is one pattern which I was following. Now what if I follow another pattern? Let's say I am going to follow, let's say I want the first two names, right? Okay, I have to delete all of this. Control shift down arrow again to select everything, and click on delete key to delete everything. Let's say I want the first two initial, YA, PR, and then you're going to ME. Now we have written 3, is more than enough. Control E and everything is written just like that. You can combine multiple columns. So right now I was just using column A and column B. You can combine multiple columns. So I would do that. So let's say I'm sorry, I want Y1 and I want, let's say, P1 and I want M1 and then I want D0, right? Here's the thing. So okay, if I'm going to write Control E now, you can see without even writing D0, Excel was able to identify the pattern. But sometimes it might happen that it will go with D1 because that's the pattern we are following. We are taking the first initial from this column and then we are giving one the argument 1. So sometimes Excel might understand the pattern, sometimes Excel might not understand the pattern. So it's always a best practice to write a couple of arguments so that we are giving a basic input for Excel to understand what we exactly want. So this is a basic data entry thing that we can perform. More on that, we have covered automatic data entry, but once we have entered the entire data set, we require to actually analyze everything very quickly, right? Just on our fingertips, and we need to just get some gist out of it. So let's say if we are selecting everything using Control Shift down arrow, and to do the quick analysis, all you have to do is click on Control Q, and once you do on Control Q, you will be able to see some of the options which you can just quickly use some format, right? So if I'm going to, let's say, data bars, you can see cells which are having 1 as value will be highlighted, and cells which have 0 in as a value are not highlighted. Color scales, red is 0 and green is 1. You can see I can use icon also. I can use greater than option. I can see top 10, and I can go with, if I want to, let's say, clear the entire format, whatever format I have given to my columns, I can do that. I can create charts, just like that. I don't actually have to worry a lot of what exactly is happening. I can create a sum which will be at the bottom, as you can see, 618 at row 1301. You can just see, just at this place. If I want average, if I want count, if I want percentage total, running total, I can do all of it. I don't need to worry a lot. If I want to convert everything in a tabular form, I can do it. if I want to, let's say, create spark lines, I can do it. If I need to create, let's say, a column plot, I can do it. If I want to create a win and loss, I can do it. So quick analysis is really helpful. It's just that you need to know what exactly quick analysis is. So this lecture will be this much only. Will not be working more on this, but to give you a proper understanding of how exactly things will work when how exactly we will be using all of these four options when you are working with data. We'll be using them for all the lectures we'll gonna have after this as well. So whenever we get a chance to do some option, you will be able to see the real life implication of them. So right now you just need to understand what all can we do. So if you need to do quick analysis, you just have to select everything and do control Q for queen, right? And then you can just do it easily. And if you have to just enter data automatically, it is control E, as I told you. Last thing, before I close this lecture, many students might get confused of what exactly is happening, and because there might be so many keyboard shortcuts that I'll be using, but that's exactly you need to learn if you want to be a good data analyst. If you want to make sure that your name is well recognized in the industry of data analytics, you need to know these shortcuts, because this is the basic. Today you need to know all of them, and to help you remember all of this, we'll be working with these all the time in all our next lectures. Plus, after the end of the beginner's lecture, I will actually create a Word document that will contain all of the shortcuts you can think of, so that you can have a summarized channel from where you can actually remember or recall everything, or brush up on memory whenever you want. So that would be it from my end. If you have any doubts, you can always comment. If you have any queries, you can also comment, as well as mail me. You can go to our YouTube channel, and then you can just mail us from on the mail ID that is mentioned there. Thank you very much for everyone to join in this lecture. Thank you.